Quebec shuts the door on international students. Dreams crushed by sudden immigration freeze. Welcome back to Canada Chronicles. Today, we're diving into a story that has disrupted the lives of thousands of international students in Quebec. The sudden freeze on the Quebec Experience Program, known as the PEQ, has left many questioning their futures in a province they've worked so hard to contribute to and call home. This decision, aimed at reshaping Quebec's immigration priorities, has sparked widespread protests, outrage, and a search for solutions. In this video, we'll explore the reasons behind this drastic policy change, its economic and emotional impact, and the stories of resilience, frustration, and determination from those directly affected. Stay with us until the end to uncover the alternatives available to students navigating these uncertain times and the powerful voices fueling the protests. If you're passionate about how immigration changes shape real lives, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for updates you won't want to miss. Let's get started. Quebec's sudden freeze leaves students stranded. On October 31, 2024, the Quebec government announced a freeze on applications for the PEQ, effective until June 30, 2025. This program, which has long provided a reliable pathway to permanent residency for international students and temporary workers, is now suspended, leaving thousands of individuals uncertain about their future. The PEQ was designed to reward those who studied or worked in Quebec, mastered the French language, and integrated into the province's culture. The suspension, however, has caused significant disruption to the lives of those who had been preparing for years to meet these requirements. For students, the timing could not have been worse. Many had just completed their French proficiency exams or were in the final stages of submitting their PEQ applications when the freeze was suddenly announced. Without prior notice or transitional measures, these individuals now face logistical, financial, and emotional upheaval. Financial and professional consequences. The suspension has placed an immediate financial strain on international students. Quebec is already known for its high tuition fees for international students, which can be 3 times higher than those for domestic students. Many students selected Quebec over other provinces based on the promise of the PEQ, believing their education and financial investments would secure them a future in the province. With the program frozen, students must now consider costly alternatives, such as applying through federal programs, relocating to other provinces, or extending their visas. For many, these expenses are not just an inconvenience but an insurmountable burden. Professionally, the freeze has disrupted the plans of international graduates who were ready to enter Quebec's workforce. These students were poised to fill gaps in industries like healthcare, technology, and engineering, where labor shortages are already a challenge. Without a clear path to permanent residency, these skilled graduates face difficulties securing stable employment and contributing fully to the local economy. Quebec's justifications for the freeze. The Quebec government has explained that the PEQ freeze is part of a larger strategy to manage immigration levels. Officials argue that population growth must be balanced with available infrastructure, public services, and housing resources. By pausing applications, the province intends to assess and realign its immigration policies to address these challenges. Another key consideration is the preservation of Quebec's francophone identity. Policymakers emphasize the need to prioritize immigrants who align with the province's cultural and linguistic heritage. Slowing the rate of permanent residency applications, they argue, will allow for better integration of newcomers into Quebec's unique society. Additionally, government officials have pointed to the strain on social programs as another reason for the freeze. With increasing pressure on healthcare and education systems, they claim that reducing the influx of permanent residents will provide the province with time to improve service delivery and ensure that existing residents and newcomers alike have access to adequate resources. This, they argue, is critical to sustaining Quebec's long-term social and economic stability. While these justifications address important concerns, critics argue that the policy unfairly impacts those who have already proven their commitment to Quebec. International students, who have learned French, studied in Quebec's institutions, and actively participated in the local community, represent the very integration the province seeks. Many view the freeze as a contradiction to Quebec's stated goals. Thanks for staying with us this far. We appreciate your time and hope you're finding this information valuable. Now, let's explore the stories of those directly affected by the freeze and discuss the options available to them. Voices of those impacted. Protests have erupted across Quebec, as international students and their supporters rally to demand a reversal of the PEQ suspension. These protests highlight the human impact of the policy, with students sharing their experiences of uncertainty, frustration, and a sense of betrayal. For many, the announcement came as a shock. Individuals who had invested months, or even years, preparing their applications suddenly found themselves unable to proceed. Some students had passed rigorous French language tests just days before the freeze, only to discover that their efforts were in vain. Beyond practical challenges, the suspension has created emotional distress. Students who integrated into Quebec's society, learned its language, and envisioned a long-term future in the province now feel excluded. The abrupt nature of the decision has left many questioning whether Quebec truly values their contributions. The policy has also sparked fears about the broader message it sends to prospective international students. Many now wonder if Quebec remains a viable destination for higher education and career opportunities, particularly for those who aim to settle permanently. The uncertainty caused by the freeze may discourage future applicants, undermining the province's reputation as an inclusive and supportive place for global talent. Economic and social implications. The freeze extends its impact beyond individuals, touching Quebec's broader economy and social fabric. International students are key drivers of economic growth in Quebec, contributing through tuition fees, housing costs, and everyday expenses. Their absence could result in financial losses for educational institutions, many of which rely heavily on international enrollment for funding. Labor shortages in sectors like healthcare, technology, and engineering could worsen as skilled graduates leave Quebec for other opportunities. These industries, which are already struggling to find qualified workers, rely on a steady stream of talent from both temporary foreign workers and international graduates. Losing this pipeline of skilled individuals may further strain Quebec's economic competitiveness. Educational institutions are also voicing concern. Universities and colleges in Quebec depend on the financial contributions of international students while benefiting from their academic and cultural diversity. A decline in international enrollment could reduce research output, hinder innovation, and weaken the province's reputation as a top destination for global talent. Exploring alternative pathways. For students affected by the suspension, other immigration options exist, though they often involve additional effort and costs. At the federal level, programs like the Canadian Experience Class and the Federal Skilled Worker Program offer alternative routes to permanent residency. These programs evaluate candidates based on factors like work experience, education, and language proficiency, providing opportunities for students who meet the criteria. Other provinces also have pathways tailored to international students through their provincial nominee programs. For instance, Ontario and British Columbia offer dedicated streams for graduates, allowing them to settle and work in these provinces. While relocating requires significant adjustments, these programs offer a clear path forward for those willing to explore options outside Quebec. Temporary permits, like the post-graduation work permit, can provide students with the time needed to gain Canadian work experience and strengthen their applications for permanent residency. These permits are valuable for maintaining legal status in Canada while pursuing alternative pathways. Advocacy and support. Advocacy groups and student organizations are stepping in to assist those affected by the freeze. By organizing protests, raising awareness, and engaging policymakers, these groups aim to push for a more inclusive approach to immigration. They are also providing resources and guidance to help students navigate their options during this challenging time. Educational institutions are joining the advocacy efforts, emphasizing the importance of international students for Quebec's economy and culture. These institutions highlight the interconnected nature of education, immigration, and economic growth, arguing that excluding international students undermines the province's goals. A call for balance. The suspension of the PEQ reveals the complexities of immigration policy in Quebec. While the government's concerns about infrastructure, housing, and cultural preservation are valid, the freeze is seen by many as an excessive measure. Critics argue that a more balanced approach could address these issues without alienating individuals who have already proven their commitment to Quebec. Potential solutions include gradual reductions in applications, exemptions for individuals who meet specific criteria, and clearer communication about future policy changes. By implementing these measures, Quebec can achieve its immigration goals while supporting those who contribute to its success. Thank you for tuning in to Canada Chronicles. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone who might benefit from this information. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let us know your take on Quebec's immigration freeze. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on stories like this and other important news from across Canada. Until next time, take care and stay informed.